Alright everyone, welcome. Let's continue. So we're doing our deep dive and overall book review and commentary and textual analysis of The Sword of Allah. It's been fantastic. Like I said, reads like a movie. And we were dealing with the 11 corps that were formed by the Caliph. And we were on number 3. So let's continue. Amir bin Alas, he has to go deal with the apostate tribes of Kuza and Wadi in the area of Tabuk and Duma Ujandal. Okay. Number 4, Shurahbil bin Hassana has to go follow Ikrama and await the Caliph's instructions. So he has to wait. His mission isn't immediate. Khalid bin Sa'id, he has to ascertain apostate tribes on the Syrian frontier. So he's headed there. Turaifa bin Hajiz, the apostate tribes of Hawazin and Bani Sulaim in the area east of Medina and Mecca. Okay, the Bani Sulaim tribe, I've come to recognize their name quite a lot. They're spoken about extensively. Ula bin al-Hazrami has to go deal with the apostates in Bahrain. Huzaifa bin Mihsan has to go deal with the apostates in Oman. Arafaja bin Harsama has to go to Mahra to deal with the apostates. So those three, they're like just immediate missions, clearly. Muhajir bin Abi Umayyah has to go deal with the apostates in Yemen, and then the Kinda in Hazaramaut. So he's got 2 things. So he's got to wait 2. Those other 3 have immediate missions solely to do that. Wow, there's a lot going on. No wonder why he said he had to split it up. And then the 11th commander is Suwaid bin Mukarran. He has to go deal with the apostates in the coastal area north of Yemen. Wow, so much history around Yemen. I mean, it's fantastic. As soon as the organization of the corps was complete, Khalid marched off to be followed a little later by Ikrama and Amir bin Alas. The other corps were held back by the Caliph and dispatched weeks and even months later. See, what's interesting is like when you read about these 11 corps, right? And how they all got their own standard. The objectives read almost like they're immediate, but as he just said, some of these things are going to occur later. I mean, when he says await the Caliph's instructions for Shurahbil bin Hassana, I was thinking maybe that is till nightfall, within a certain period. It's really interesting, this time period of how they space out their battles and such. It's interesting. Their dispatch was conditioned by the progress of Khalid's operations against the hardcore enemy opposition. So everything is centering around him. So no wonder why he's called the Sword of Allah. I mean, wow, they got a lot to deal with. And remember, he's gonna go to Tuleha at Buska, and then Malik bin Nueri at Buta. So he's got to go deal with Malik and Tuleha. Wow. These envoys were given identical instructions. They were to call upon the tribes and to return to Islam and render full submission. For those tribes which submitted, there would be forgiveness and peace. Those tribes that resisted would be fought until no opposition remained, and their women and children would be enslaved. Before the attack against any tribe, the Muslim forces would call the azan, the Muslim call to prayer. Now that's interesting. So before the attack, they're gonna do that call. I would think that would calm them down, but maybe that's to fortify them and to be brave what they're going into. I know in Caesar's Gallic Wars, they had a similar, things that were happening. People have their standard bearer. The enslavement of your enemies. It's something very common throughout history. And if the tribe responded with azan, it would be assumed that it had submitted. That is very interesting. So the tribes before, right, when the Prophet, peace be upon him, was alive, they were loyal. He passes away. Abu Bakr comes into power. He's heading over to Zukisa. He's got to go deal with this, and then he lets them know, we're going to do the call. You do it back. That's a sign. That's very cool. To the corps commanders, too, the Caliph gave identical general instructions, apart from their specific objectives. Okay, so they have other things to do. Let's see what it is. These instructions were as follows. A. Seek the tribes which are your objectives. Yeah, clearly you have to do that, right? Call the azan. If the tribe answers with azan, do not attack. That's almost like the bells, right? Instead of having the bells ringing, it's a call. After the azan, ask the tribe to confirm its submission, including the payment of taxes. If confirmed, do not attack. Now this is interesting that the taxes come into play here. So the taxes, and then you don't just take the response for it and be like, okay, they did the response. You have to go a step further and confirm it. So that clarifies it, so that they can't take advantage of just mimicking like a mockingbird, right? They have to actually make the oath again. Those who submit will not be molested. Those who do not answer with azan or after the azan, do not confirm full submission, will be dealt with by fire and sword. All apostates who have killed Muslims will be killed. Those who have burnt Muslims alive will be burnt alive. With these instructions, Abu Bakr, no longer the meek, submissive companion, launched the forces of Islam against the apostates. This is interesting because as the more I read about different countries' militaristic history, the more you see it's very similar in strategic measures. So the tit for tat angle of warfare is nothing really to pearl clutch about. It's something that has happened. That's how you win when you're fighting with an enemy. You're not playing patty cake. I think we get outraged, not me, but others, when we read battle scenes, because people get offended by tweets and such. We're very soft now, at least in first world countries, very sensitive, to the point where you can't even get insults on an app. It's very weird now. But here it's a different time period, where you actually had to battle against someone, and the passive-aggressive nature wasn't a thing back then. People just seemed more direct, more straightforward, less sneaky. But it is very cool. So again, to reiterate the names, we have Khalid, Ikrama, we have Amir, Alas, Shurhabil, Khalid, but the Saeed one, Turefa, Ula bin Hazrami, Huzaifa, Arafa, Muhayir, Suwaid. That is so cool, man. So Zukisa, big point. He's going to clear the area west of Central Arabia and nearest the Medina, and then head on over to deal with the other concentrated forces. Now, the Musalima, the liar, we're going to learn more about him, I think. But let's see where we go. Okay, now we're in the new section, chapter 13, Tulayha the impostor. Okay. Of the false prophets who remained after the death of Aswad, the first to clash with the Muslims was Tulayha bin Khuwailid. He was a chief of the tribe of Bani Asad. Okay, so you have another tribe here. Bani Asad. It's very cool. So you notice that Bani, the tribes in here is Bani, and then with the Jewish tribe it's Ites. Like the Jezabites, the Hittites. I don't really know if they're Jewish or not, but some of these tribes, at least in the Old Testament, you read them, they're like Ites. And here it's like in this other area, it's Bani. It's different. It's quite interesting to look at. And had been opposing the Holy Prophet off and on for many years. So Tulay is just kind of flip-flopping, seesawing. Tulayha first showed his hostility to Islam 3 months after the Battle of Uhud. Believing that Muslims had been badly hurt in that battle, he got his clan together with the intention of raiding Medina and thus exploiting what he regarded as a fine opportunity. It must have been scary. People had to deal with raiding a lot back then. But the Prophet came to know of the concentration of the clan and sent a mounted column of 150 horsemen to deal with it. How cool is that? So he finds out, the Prophet, peace be upon him, finds out Tulayha trying to do a little mini raid on Medina, taking advantage of the opportunity, gets met up with 150 cavalry. Before Tulayha could get wind of this counter move, the Muslim horsemen were upon him. The infidels scattered without a fight, and the Muslims captured the flocks of the clan and drove them off to Medina as spoils. This setback so discredited Tulayha in the eyes of his tribe that he had to lie low for a while. So it's embarrassing for him, right? He's like, okay, after the Battle of Uhud, I'm gonna get some more glory. Let's raid Medina. Gets busted up. Here come the horses, and then gets discredited, and is just like, I gotta go back now. That's quite funny.